Caught in the middle somewhat of this dispute between the protesters and the carriage operators, we have the Town Council of Niagara-on-the-Lake joining us. Lord Mayor Betty Disero on the source. Welcome, Betty.
Hello.
Lots of disruptions, and especially things came to a head this August with that big protest, the biggest one over the 3 years. This is something that you were facing at the beginning of your term, and it continues to be a factor during your term as Lord Mayor. What kind of disruption does this cause in the town?
The people that I feel the most sympathy with are the businesses on Queen Street. They are, whenever the protesters come out or the counter protesters come out, they're the ones that seem to be caught in the middle. The tourists are angry, and if they're sitting on a patio, it's difficult for them to enjoy what they're doing. A lot of times protesters will yell and scream at different tourists on the street or residents of Niagara-on-the-Lake just to cause a commotion. So really my sympathy goes out to those businesses that are impacted by what's going on.
It's confusing probably for the tourists. They come to Niagara-on-the-Lake because it's quiet, peaceful, quaint, and then this disruption goes on right in front of them.
It's really disheartening because we've got a lot of expectations out there from the public for council to do something, and yet our hands are tied in so many ways.
The big protest in August resulted in, just about a week later, the movement on the weekends of the carriages from Queen Street, one block up to Byron Street. How did that come about, and were the carriage operators consulted in that?
We had been talking with the carriage operators for quite some time, actually even before that. We were talking with them for months before that about moving to another location because of the impact on the Prince of Wales and the other stores and restaurants in close proximity to what was happening there. So Byron Street was decided by council that they would be moved to Byron Street. There was not a specific discussion about we're going to move you today, but they did know the move was coming because we had been in discussions with them. We walked down to Front Street with one of the carriage operators to see if we could arrange something on Front Street where it's shady, near the public washroom, so they could get access to water and things like that. But after that event in August, we knew, council decided collectively that there needed to be a move.
Is it important to council? I know it's very important to this group of locals and to probably most local residents that the carriage operators continued to be able to operate. Is it important to council to protect this business and allow it to continue?
Yes, absolutely. All members of council are supportive of the horse and carriage operators. The problem that we faced, and the reason for the move to Byron was, one, the local store owners in that area. Two, it was no longer going to be a big iconic setting, that corner near where the cenotaph is and where all the tourists go. And three, one was even to provide some protection for the horse and carriage drivers, if that's what you want to call them, riders, I guess, to get out of the limelight so that they're not being screamed at all the time. So we very much support the horse and carriage. The problem is, how do we do that, particularly when the law is not on our side?
Bill 156, do you think that will change things to that end and put the law on your side a bit more?
Well, it depends really on what they do with Bill 156. The intention of Bill 156, my understanding, is that the province wanted to stop protesters from entering farms and where livestock was being held, or chasing transport trucks that were transporting livestock. If they come up with another regulation within the Bill 156, which leaves a distance between the horse and carriage operators and the protesters, that will certainly make a difference, not only to the horse and carriage operators, but also to those stores in and around that corner as well.
Are you somewhat frustrated that the police can't move the protesters off and basically get rid of them?
Well, yeah, here's two things. One is that people feel that we can use our bylaw officers to give tickets. We do have a noise bylaw which says they can't be using a megaphone. The issue is when the bylaw officer goes to a protester and says, I'm going to issue you a ticket, and asks their name, I mean, they can very well say, you know, Little Red Riding Hood, and the bylaw officer has no means of getting accurate information on their identification. The only way they can do that is to get a police officer to assist in getting identification of that person that's breaking the bylaw. Well, the police are not prepared at this point in time, and we've spoken to the police and we've spoken to the Crown Attorney, neither of which are prepared at this point in time to go after for bylaw infractions. And the only thing the police can do is go after protesters or anyone if they're blocking traffic on the street. It's very difficult to get any assistance. And I think it's because the police they feel that their job is to keep the peace, and the peace is only broken if they're blocking traffic and pedestrians.
A very frustrating situation for the town, if I must say so. Betty Disero, Lord Mayor of Niagara-on-the-Lake, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.